The sun was beginning its slow dip over Lagos Island, staining the city in gold. Under the CMS pedestrian bridge, where traders hawked knockoff sneakers and fried puff-puff, Toby Adiwale tuned his battered guitar. The once shiny mahogany was now dull, the strings replaced one too many times. A crack along the neck was held together with duct tape, but the sound still carried magic. For the past 3 years, this had been his stage. Here, he poured out his soul for coins. Bankers on lunch breaks tossed in 50 Nigerian nairas notes, kids stopped to sway to his rhythm, but most people barely noticed him. Today, he began with Rise With Me, a song he'd written in memory of his late mother. The lyrics were about starting from nothing, about climbing no matter how heavy the climb. It was raw, heartfelt. A young woman paused mid-step, pulled out her phone, and recorded him. "I'm sending this to my brother in the UK. You're too good to be here," she said with a smile. Toby grinned. Compliments were nice, but compliments didn't pay rent. After 3 hours, he counted his earnings, 3,250 Nigerian nairas. Enough for a bag of rice and maybe some beans. But as he packed up, he scribbled new lines into his lyric notebook. Music, for him, wasn't just survival, it was destiny. He didn't know it yet, but that one song would carry him into a battle far bigger than street noise and traffic horns. 2 weeks later, the weather had turned cloudy, with a salty breeze rolling in from the lagoon. As Toby strummed under the bridge, a black SUV pulled up by the curb. A man in dark sunglasses stepped out, dressed in a deep blue agbada that whispered money with every fold. He didn't mingle with the crowd. He stood at the back, listening. When Toby sang Rise With Me, the man tilted his head, as though memorizing each word. When the set ended, the stranger approached and dropped a crisp 5,000 Nigerian nairas note into the guitar case. "You have something special. Keep pushing," he said. No name, no card, just a faint cologne smell and the slam of an SUV door as he left. Toby thought nothing more of it, until the following Friday. His friend Femi burst into his one-room flat, phone in hand. "Guy! Your song day radio oh." Toby laughed. Impossible. But then Femi hit play. The melody was unmistakable. The lyrics were his. But the voice wasn't, it belonged to KV, one of Nigeria's hottest Afrobeat stars. The room spun. Toby felt the air squeeze out of his lungs. The next morning, Toby marched to Cool FM's Lagos studio, where the track was being hyped as KV's new single. The DJ grinned as if he was letting Toby in on a secret. "Hot jam, ABI? KV goes scatter everywhere with this one." "That's my song," Toby said, his voice trembling. The DJ raised an eyebrow. "You know register 'em, right?" Toby shook his head. "Then anybody fit claim 'em. NA so industry B," the DJ said with a shrug. On the way home, Toby ducked into an electronics store just to see the TV screens. KV's music video had dropped. It was a polished, cinematic version of the song Toby had sweated over under that bridge. Exotic cars, foreign models, sweeping drone shots, and a title card that read written by KV. The comments under the YouTube video were a knife to the gut. "KV is a genius songwriter. This is the most inspiring thing I've heard all year." The world believed the lie. And Toby had no proof to stop it. Toby took his lyric notebook to a local lawyer in Balogun Market. The man leafed through it, sighed, and leaned back in his chair. "Young man, without copyright registration before the song was released, your case is weak. They have better lawyers. Better connections." Still, Toby tried. He visited Megatone Records' office in Victoria Island, but security blocked him at the gate. "Appointment?" they asked. He had none. They told him to try email, but his messages went unanswered. He posted on Twitter and Instagram, tagging influencers and music bloggers. But his posts got drowned in the chaos of the internet. Megatone, meanwhile, was everywhere: billboards, TV ads, interviews. In one clip, KV sat on the night show, smiling smugly as the host praised him for his original songwriting. "It came from a place of struggle," KV said. Toby almost smashed his phone. One rainy night, Toby was playing at a small bar in Surulere when a woman in a leather jacket took the stool nearest to him. She had a DSLR camera hanging from her neck and a gaze that made people spill secrets. After his set, she introduced herself, Adiz Chukwuma. I make documentaries. I've taken down politicians, corrupt CEOs, and I think your story is worth telling. Toby laughed bitterly. Even if you tell it, who will care? Adiz leaned forward. The people will care. If the law won't protect you, public outrage will. But you have to be ready. Once this starts, there's no going back. That night, over steaming plates of suya, Adiz laid out her plan. She would film him performing Rise With Me exactly as he'd always sung it, intercut with footage of his street life, his struggles, and his notebook pages. She'd then release it online, tagging every major media house and influencer she knew. Toby stared at her. The fear was real. Going against Megatone was like spitting into a hurricane. But something in Adiz's conviction lit a spark inside him. He shook her hand. Let's do it. The war had just begun. Oh. The next morning, Adiz showed up at Toby's flat before sunrise, camera bag over her shoulder. We're shooting from the ground up, she said. They started at the CMS pedestrian bridge. The familiar hum of the city became the soundtrack. Bus horns, traders shouting prices, the shuffle of feet. Toby tuned his guitar and began to play Rise With Me. Adiz filmed close-ups, his fingers on the strings, sweat beading on his forehead, the curve of his cracked guitar. She recorded wide shots too, the indifferent crowd, a mother dancing briefly with her child before moving on. Then came the personal scenes. Toby flipping through his lyric notebook, pointing to the date the song was written. Old pictures of him and his late mother. Clips of him counting the day's coins at a small wooden table in his flat. This is what they stole, Adiz said, reviewing the footage. Not just a song, your life's work. By nightfall, she had hours of raw material. The next step, editing it into something that couldn't be ignored. 3 days later, Adiz posted the documentary on YouTube, The Song Megatone Stole, The True Story of Rise With Me. It began with a split screen, Toby under the bridge on one side, KV's Dubai Shot music video on the other, both singing the same chorus. The caption read, "Who really wrote this song?" Within hours, the video hit 50,000 views. By evening, it was trending on Twitter. Hashtags emerged, #JusticeForToby, #RiseWithMeTruth. Bloggers picked it up. Some celebrities shared it, demanding answers from Megatone. Others dismissed it as publicity-seeking. By the end of the week, a radio host invited Toby for a live interview. Sitting in the small, brightly lit studio, Toby told his story without bitterness, just facts. His quiet dignity struck a chord. The clip went viral. But Megatone didn't stay silent for long. 2 days after the interview, Megatone released a statement. These false accusations against our artist are baseless. KV is the sole creator of Rise With Me. Any similarities to other works are coincidental. The label's lawyers sent Adiz a cease and desist letter, demanding the video be taken down for defamation. Adiz slammed the paper onto Toby's table. This means we're getting to them, she said. They wouldn't bother if they weren't scared. But the pressure was real. Trolls flooded Toby's social media with insults. Anonymous calls threatened him to drop the matter or face consequences. One night, as he returned home, he noticed 2 men loitering near his building. When he got closer, they vanished into the shadows. Fear whispered in his ear, but so did resolve. They can't take what's mine and expect me to bow, Toby told Adiz. A week later, Toby received a message from an unknown Instagram account. I used to work at Megatone. I have proof. The sender, a former studio sound engineer named Jide, agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. Over steaming mugs of coffee, Jide slid a flash drive across the table. On it were raw studio recordings from 6 months ago, Toby's street performance of Rise With Me, recorded on a phone, being played inside Megatone's studio as producers discussed polishing it up for KV. They bought the recording off some random guy who filmed you, Jide revealed. Chief Balagan heard it and decided it would be perfect for KV's album. I quit when I saw how dirty it was. The evidence was explosive. Adiz's eyes lit up. This is the smoking gun we needed. Adiz and Toby didn't release the flash drive immediately. Instead, they built anticipation. Toby began performing free mini-concerts in open spaces, university campuses, markets, even outside radio stations. Each time, Adiz filmed the crowd singing along to Rise With Me. At one campus event, hundreds of students held up their phones, chanting his name. Videos flooded TikTok and Instagram. Even people who had never heard of him before now knew his face. Finally, Adiz uploaded a second video, this time including Jide's studio recordings, the producer's voices clearly audible, and timestamps proving the theft. She ended it with a message. The truth can't be erased. Not by money. Not by power. The internet erupted. Influencers called for boycotts of Megaton. KV's once glowing image began to crack. The stage was set. The fight had gone public, and now there was no turning back. Megaton wasn't going down quietly. Within 48 hours of Adiz's second video, they filed a lawsuit against Toby for defamation and interference with contractual relations, demanding 50 million Nigerian nairas in damages. The news exploded across entertainment blogs. Street singer sued by Megaton Records. TV commentators debated it. Some called Toby brave. Others said he was foolish for fighting giants without money. But behind the headlines, the pressure was mounting. Toby's landlord knocked one evening, holding a notice. If trouble comes here, you'll have to go, he warned. Even his small bar gigs began drying up. Owners didn't want Megaton's lawyers sniffing around. Adiz urged him to stay calm. They're trying to starve you out. That's their play. Then came the shocker. A recorded voice note leaked online, allegedly of KV laughing with friends. That guy? Just another broke dreamer. We turned his scrap into gold. The internet went wild. And for the first time, Megaton's PR team seemed rattled. While Megaton tightened its grip, something unexpected began happening. Strangers started helping. Students painted #JusticeForToby on hostel walls. Street dancers made TikTok challenges using his original street-recorded version of Rise With Me. Even Okada riders played the song from their Bluetooth speakers as they weaved through Lagos traffic. Donations began trickling in through a GoFundMe link Adiz quietly set up. Within 2 weeks, it hit 4 million Nigerian nairas, not enough to beat Megaton's legal firepower, but enough to hire a real copyright lawyer, Barrister Goliath, known for taking on entertainment giants. Goliath didn't mince words during their first meeting. If we play this right, not only will they drop the case, they'll pay you. Toby was still scared, but for the first time, he felt like he had an army behind him. Goliath's strategy was simple: make Megaton regret ever touching Rise With Me. He hired investigators to dig into the label's contracts. The dirt piled up fast: unpaid royalties to smaller artists, forged signatures, even tax evasion whispers. But the golden nugget came from an ex-label accountant who revealed that Megaton had funneled 25 million Nigerian nairas into creative acquisition the same month Jide's leaked recording was made. Adiz turned every discovery into bite-sized, shareable clips. One particularly viral TikTok showed a split screen, Megaton executives at a champagne party while captions detailed the alleged fraud. The public started asking, if they could steal from Toby, who else had they robbed? KV's image took the biggest hit. His concert tickets began selling slower, and a major endorsement deal quietly pulled out after the Jide recording resurfaced in the press. A music blogger revealed private DMs from KV's old friend, saying, "He used to come watch Toby at the bridge. He knew exactly where that song came from." Meanwhile, Megaton's artists started posting cryptic messages on social media, some even liking posts under #JusticeForToby. The unity inside the label was fracturing. In an interview with a foreign music magazine, Toby's story was framed as David versus Goliath in Lagos. International audiences started following the saga, bringing more eyes and more pressure. Late one evening, as rain hammered the tin roof of his flat, Toby got a call from an unknown number. It was Chief Lanra Balogun himself. "You're talented, Toby," Lanra said, his voice calm, smooth, like a snake in the grass. "This whole thing? It's business. I can make it go away." His offer, Megatone would pay 10 million Nigerian nairas in compensation if Toby signed a non-disclosure agreement, admitted publicly that KV was the rightful creator, and agreed never to perform Rise With Me again. Toby sat in silence, the weight of his struggles pressing on him. That amount could change his life, but it would mean killing the very song that carried his mother's memory. "I'll think about it," he said, ending the call. The next morning, he called Adiz. "We finish what we started," he told her. "No deals. No silencing." The fight was far from over, and Megatone had just made its biggest mistake. Megatone might have had lawyers and money, but Toby now owned something they couldn't buy: the crowd. On the day their lawsuit hearing was announced, hundreds gathered outside the court with banners. #Justice for Toby, music belongs to its maker. News crews swarmed. Inside, Barrister Goliath filed a counterclaim against Megatone for copyright infringement, demanding 150 million Nigerian nairas in damages and full recognition of Toby as the song's writer. Megatone's lawyer tried to argue that street performances are public domain, but Goliath pulled out the flash drive from Jide, proof the label knowingly sourced Toby's live recording before claiming authorship. The courtroom murmured. That night, Adiz uploaded a new video titled "Day 1 in Court, Megatone's Lie Exposed." It racked up 3 million views in 24 hours. Outside the courtroom, Toby told reporters, "This isn't just for me. It's for every artist they think they can silence." His voice shook, but his resolve was steel. Oh. The court battle was just one front. Megatone was bleeding in the public arena. The allegations unearthed by Goliath's investigators became front-page headlines. A whistleblower claimed that 3 other artists had songs stolen and rebranded under bigger names. Sponsors began pulling out of Megatone's annual music festival. Their stock value, they were partially listed on the Nigerian exchange, dropped 18% in 2 weeks. Chief Lanra stopped appearing at events. KV tried to release another single, but social media wasn't having it. Comments flooded in. "Where you steal this one from? Return Toby's song first." Even DJs hesitated to spin his tracks. His once booming career had become a punchline. Meanwhile, Adiz kept documenting every crack in the empire, turning the collapse into a real-time viral series. 6 months after the war began, the final hearing was set. The courtroom was overflowing, journalists, students, even rival musicians. Megatone's legal team came in heavy, but Goliath was ready. He played the studio tapes again, then called Jide to the stand. Under oath, Jide detailed how the recording was brought in, how producers were instructed to make it KV's, and how payments were routed through shell accounts. Then came the killer moment. Adiz rolled footage from Toby's very first street performance of "Rise With Me," recorded months before Megatone touched it. The same melody, same lyrics. The timestamp from the camera's metadata left no room for doubt. The judge leaned back, eyes narrowing at Megatone's table. "I've heard enough," he said. Judgment would be delivered in 1 week. On the day of judgment, the streets outside the courthouse felt like a music festival. People playing "Rise With Me" on speakers, food vendors serving suya, TV trucks lined up like a parade. Inside, the judge ruled. Toby was the rightful creator of "Rise With Me." Megatone was guilty of copyright infringement and ordered to pay 120 million Nigerian nairas in damages. KV's name was to be removed from all credits, replaced with Toby's. All royalties from the song's past and future earnings were to go to Toby. The courtroom erupted. Outside, the crowd lifted Toby onto their shoulders, chanting his name. Adiz hugged him tight. "Told you the people would care." Chief Lanra refused interviews, slipping into his car under a hail of boos. For Toby, it wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming his mother's song from the hands that had stolen it. 6 months later, Toby was no longer playing under the bridge, he was selling out concert halls. His debut album, From Coins to Crowds, topped the charts. "Rise With Me" became an anthem, played at graduations, protests, and even political rallies. But Toby didn't forget where he came from. He set up a foundation for street musicians, funding music workshops and helping them protect their work legally. "No artist should fight the war I fought," he told the press. Adiz's documentary, expanded into a full-length feature, premiered at international film festivals, winning awards and putting both their names on the global map. On a quiet evening, Toby returned to the CMS bridge. Guitar in hand, he played Rise With Me for the small crowd that gathered. This time, people didn't just toss coins, they sang along, every word, every line. The same song that had been stolen now stood as a symbol of victory. And for the boy who once sang for coins, it was proof that no amount of power could bury the truth forever.